Week 2 complete. Texans 1 of 9, 0-2 teams. Lots of injuries and a matchup against the division favorite ahead. However, is all news bad? It's time for the Texans Week 2 wrap here in the locker room.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop.
All right, so Week 2 is complete. Some lucky breaks for the Texans, some bad news for the Texans, more of the same, but is all bad. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. This is your Week 2 wrap. We do this after every Monday night football game. We got videos throughout the week. We got the post-game show. But after each week completes, we put on the localized lenses. We put on the localized lenses, and we talk about where the Texans are as opposed to the rest of the league and how it lays out. Right now we have, and we'll get into the issues with the Texans. After 2 weeks in the NFL, there are 9 2-0 teams. None of those in the AFC South. There are 9 0-2 teams. The Texans are one of those, and they're the only team in the AFC South. And then there are 14 1-1 teams. 3 of those are in the AFC South. So you hear people say it's a 500 league, etc. After 2 weeks, it is definitely a 500 league, and it appears to be a little bit wide open. Texans, by the way, open as 10-point underdogs against the Jags. They are 10-point dogs. Same exact spread that they had against the Ravens. I've seen this 9.5 in some places. But they are a 10-point underdog, and they end the week. The Texans do end the week with some good news, with Cleveland finding a way to lose to a Pittsburgh team that looked completely dead in Week 1. Now, unfortunate news for the Browns. It looks like Nick Chubb. I'm not a doctor. I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. And I'm damn sure not someone that diagnoses injuries, but I have been watching football for 3+ decades, and I Nick Chubb's done for the year. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that just looked really, really bad. And that's just a tough blow for the Cleveland Browns. But with the reality that the Texans' only first-round pick is the Browns, it's kind of, I don't want to call it a break for the Texans, but anything that's bad for the Browns and their success on the field is good for the Texans, especially since they don't possess their own draft pick and they have the Browns pick. So, yeah, sucks for him. Ironically, he was actually selected with what would have been the Texans draft pick had they not sent the second rounder to Cleveland for the Browns to take Brock Osweiler off their hands. But Chubb looks like he's going to be done, and that makes the Browns a much worse team because Deshaun sucks now. I don't know if this is just a slump. I don't know if this is just rust. I don't know if, something's happening to him, but Deshaun probably should have gotten thrown out of the game. He shoved the ref to the side. There was a couple times where he was grabbing players' face masks and throwing them down. And there was like a meditation thing going on before the game that Troy Aikman couldn't even keep a straight face when discussing. But the Browns don't look like now. Week 1, you saw them beat Cincinnati the way they did, and you wondered, damn, was Cleveland for real? Do think they have a good defense, but we're kind of seeing that maybe Cincinnati has some problems, and maybe Joe Burrow might have come a little bit early. Might have returned a little bit early when he came back. So that's just kind of where we're at. Texans 0-2, rest of the AFC South 1-1, and the injuries continue to pile up. This time, the news that Tavier Thomas is going to be out for the season with a broken hand. He'll be back I don't know what the time frame is. With Titus, it was 4 to 6. He did play the rest of the game, I think, with a broken hand. But Tavier Thomas, he's going to be out. And it kind of makes you wonder as we talk about these injuries with the Texans. What are they going to do whenever what are they going to do whenever Jimmy Ward comes back, and if Jimmy Ward comes back? Because if Jimmy Ward does come back, I know that he's told me during camp, and he's D'Amico's kind of made a joke about it. The reality is they might need him to play some nickel. And he was elite in the nickel a couple of years ago. And with Tavier out, they got rid of Desmond King. It's possible that they might need Jimmy Ward to play a little bit more nickel than he wanted to play. And also got to figure out what's up with Eric Murray as well. Right now, the safety position is depleted. Thought that maybe that was something they could overcome. All bets are off right now with this defense. And, I've had some talks with listeners. Today was Reaction Monday. It was obviously a pretty heated Reaction Monday. And, my main overall outlook of the Texans, and I think the best way that I can summarize what I saw yesterday, and it's always different when you talk about it on Monday as opposed to right after the game. And that's just kind of the emotion. You kind of get everything underneath you. And that's what the point of the Monday Nighters are in the locker room. The Monday Nighters are to take a full step at the rest of the league, not just immediate reaction. But my biggest takeaway from that game is that was exactly what we've seen from the Texans the last 2 years. And it was a slow start. It was a team that didn't look ready to play early. It was really kind of a fake ass, we didn't quit type of thing. You're down 3 touchdowns in the fourth. Maybe you make the score look a little bit better, but never really felt like you had a chance. And there were some frustrating moments, whether it was the inability to have consistent tempo, 1 tackle for loss the entire game. It was just, it looked identical. And it looked identical to where what we've seen from the Texans the last couple of years. Now, there's reasons for it, right? There are injuries. There are the injuries are undeniable. But if you really watched that game and you came away and your only thing that you said was, well, they're injured, of course that's going to happen. I mean, it's that easy. You're being a simp. You're being a simp. And that's just the reality of the situation. Because that team was not ready to go. The defense was not ready to go. Shane Steichen was doing things. He forced D'Amico to use the timeout in the fourth quarter. Indianapolis was just a lot more organized. And I can say what I want about Anthony Richardson. The reality of the situation is they won a game with their backup quarterback. And they had some injuries as well. And they have a first-year coach. I mean, the line was a pick 'em. You were down 21 points in the fourth quarter. So, yes, obviously things will get better as the Texans get healthier, but you're going to have to, in the NFL at some point, you're going to have to scratch and claw and find ways to win games. So it's not as simple as, oh, well, yeah, they have injuries. If you're saying that and you're simplifying it there, I don't know what to tell you. I think that's just simped out. And I don't think you're actually watching the game. I think you're just giving them an excuse no matter what, because that performance sucked. And that was a really, really bad performance all the way around. So that's just kind of where they are now. And now if they want to be competitive, you got Pittsburgh in 2 weeks. Pittsburgh, they got a good defense. You're still not going to have Titus Howard. You're still not going to have Juice Scruggs. Their offense seems to leave a lot desired. They had 2 defensive touchdowns today. They didn't really move the ball very well in week 1. But before that, you're going to have to face Jacksonville. And who knows? Maybe D'Amico Ryans can figure something out against Jacksonville. I just if they're gonna come out like against Jacksonville the way that they did yesterday, we could be looking at a 2-win team again. Something else I want to touch on here, and we'll get into some stats about the Texans. But something else that I want to get into is the CJ Stroud shoulder issue. And I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but are we sure this just goes away? Because I know CJ yesterday, and CJ was a lead at the podium. I really enjoy listening to the young man talk. It's very motivational. It's clear to see, why. And I've always talked about CJ ever since I saw him on the pivot last year with Bijan. I think I even tweeted out, I like the personality, the leadership, etc. We'll figure out how he ends up being as a player. But are we does this go away? Like, does it get better over the course of a season? I mean, we're in week 2. I heard he was at the stadium at around 4 a.m. on Sunday, so that he could play. He was there at 4 a.m. doing whatever he needed to do to get ready to play. He said he was there early. I heard it was 4 a.m. Could be wrong, but that's what I heard. So we look at what's going on, and obviously this number is going to level off once he gets his offensive lineman back. I mean, you would believe. But right now he's been sacked 11 times in 2 weeks. That's a 90-plus pace, which would be a record. He's been sacked 11 times in 2 weeks. I think he's gotten hit 16 times, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I'm not sure the exact number on that. Don't quote me on that. But he's been sacked 11 times in 2 weeks. He's thrown the ball nearly 100 times in 2 weeks. So what in that sequence and those two numbers makes you think a shoulder injury gets better? If you're throwing a ton and you're getting hit a ton, what makes you think that gets better? I don't have the answer. Just doesn't see anything to me. I hate this theory, by the way. Start Mills till the O-line gets healthy. No, let him play. He's playing his ass off. Yeah, he did have a shoulder injury in college, but my point is, I just don't know how it gets better. And this is another thing, and I didn't talk about this yesterday, but this is another point I want to make. And I think this is the type of stupid stuff that this coaching staff should avoid, because this could have been one of the biggest disasters ever, to where you really start to question stuff. What the hell were they doing at the end of the game yesterday? That was one of the stupidest, most idiotic, moronic displays that I've seen in a long time. So you get Mechie the catch at the end of the game. That's great. I'm happy for John Mechie. I think John Mechie's tired of hearing about the feel-good story. He just wants to win. That's what he said. But he gets the catch, and then you go spike the ball with 1 second left. You're down 11, and CJ Stroud goes back, tries to throw the ball, and gets brought down by one of the best defensive linemen in the game, DeForest Buckner, one of the biggest monsters in the NFL. That was stupid. That was just dumb. Now, even if you just wanted to execute the spike, after that, just hand it to Dare or something like that and take it to the house. But a guy got to the game early just so he could play. He's been roughed up. He's thrown damn near 50 times. There's no such thing as an 11-point play. And you have him go back and get thrown down one more time. What if CJ Stroud had gotten hurt on that play? We would be talking about that being perhaps the stupidest thing that we've seen in a long time. Remember when Arian Foster got hurt because B.O.B. was running him in mop-up duty or whatever it was? That wasn't even this bad. That's at least trying to run it off. But that was absolute stupidity for them to do that. And it's putting your arguably your most important player on the offensive side of the ball in harm's way for no reason. Get Mechie the mop-up catch. I have no problem with that. But come on. That was stupid. That was really dumb. And it made absolutely no sense. And I thought it was, I don't know whose decision that is or what, but that was just absolutely silly. Absolute silliness. Please subscribe, like, right along. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. How many problems are saved by injuries? I think that's the other question to talk about when talking about the squad. How many problems are saved by injuries? Obviously, the offensive line gets better. Does it become all of a sudden one of the best offensive lines in the game? I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if Shaq Mason's good, to be honest with you. He didn't stink this week as much as he did last week. I don't know if Shaq Mason's good. I don't know what Juice Scruggs is going to look like. I think Titus Howard's pretty good. Although I don't think he's as good as a lot of like the water carriers try to make him out to be. And Tunsil's obviously pretty good. But I don't know that it becomes like one of the best offensive lines, but obviously the offensive line gets better. The defense, I think when you have two guys in the back like Petrie and Ward, I think it helps a lot of things. It can help you in the run game. Now, having those two isn't necessarily going to force you to have one tackle for loss in an entire game and over 5 yards a pop when it comes to carrying the rock. So I don't know that it solves all the problems and the stuff that we saw yesterday. It also doesn't make your defensive coordinator in your defensive game plan avoid arguably your best player in Will Anderson disappearing for a game. But it does help. It will help to have that. Cashman, it'll help to have Cashman. I think Storm Report put it out. Patrick Storm, 13 for 13 the Colts were on pass attempts at linebackers. Yeah. Henry To'oTo'o looked kind of lost in coverage. That was one of the things they struggled with at Alabama. Cashman looked really good in camp in coverage. So I guess that helps a little bit. But does having the offensive line back make you run better tempo? Does having the offensive line back, are you going to be able to run the ball? I don't know. They say they want to run the ball. Can they run the ball? I don't know. I'm a little bit hesitant. I also don't know what this Dameon Pierce like sideways pass thing is that Slowick likes to do, but it's rough. But 2.5 yards per carry on the ground, that will increase when the line gets back. For sure. That will increase. Here was a stat from Bill Barnwell today. Opposing quarterbacks are posting an adjusted completion percentage of 85.8% against Houston. So this figure removes throwaways and drops and adjusts for the depth of the target. So if you're throwing the ball away, it doesn't count. Although that I'm sure they have like some sort of advanced stat. Shout out to Barry Vigoda at ESPN Stats and Info. And if the receiver drops it, then I guess that goes against you. Texans are allowing 85.8% with that adjusted stat. That's bad. A lot of that is the linebackers. Do the safeties help? Probably so. But that's pretty sad, especially when you factor in they played a team that was running an offense for the first time that didn't even have their best threat down the middle in Mark Andrews. And they played a team in Indianapolis that had Anthony Richardson, and then the backup quarterback came in. So that's not good. The good news, though, is the receivers performed well yesterday. And I don't know if Bobby Slowick was forced to use Tank Dell because Noah Brown wasn't in, but regardless, the receivers performed well. And speaking of which, let's hear from Tank Dell. Don't get him at the podium very much.
I actually gave it to Darnell, the equipment people, and then they taped it up, put the stat on it, and they gave it back to me. So special. Plan on giving it to my mom though. Yeah. it felt good. I felt like Coach Slow dialed up a great game plan for us. Me, Nico, Rob, all the receivers. We all got in there, got some touches, and showed what we was capable of doing all throughout the season. So it was good.
With Robert was talking about the tempo throughout the game, time zone up, time zone refining the rhythm. What did you take away from the game in terms of rhythm, where you guys were able to get your
Just start the game how we started the second half. I feel like if we start like that and finish like that, it's going to be a great offense. So I just say starting the game fast and, like red zone, getting in there, like Rob said, piggyback off what he said, when we get in there, getting them chance to score, we need to score the ball. 3 points good, but we rather touchdown, so I say that.
So much of your offensive line missing. How much do you think that you could help with CJ getting the ball down and being able to create more in space?
That I feel like as receivers, we got to get open faster. I feel like the old linemen, though, they've been holding it down. It's been some hiccups here and there, but that will come with football, But just, try to be there for CJ best we can, get open faster. Don't play at the line. We got to get in and out of our route so he can deliver the ball with precision and on time. So I just say get open faster.
In what ways we talked a lot with Bob Slook and you guys too about how the run game opens up the offense. How does the passing game open up the offense too?
Yeah, y'all know you got DP back there, Motor, getting them guys some touches, and once they start get going and we all going clicking at the same time, it's going to be a dangerous offense. So I say we've definitely opened up the offense for the running backs, and when them boys get going, it's going to be something serious because the linebackers going to have to respect it. Safety's going to have to start coming down, and then, we're going to have some shot plays here and there, but it's going to be great.
You said that you're going to give the football to your mom, but do you think it's also going to end up with one of your brothers, especially the one that is out there?
Yeah.
Did he send you the highlight of your touchdown?
Yeah, he did. He gonna probably try to take it, but my mom gonna put it in the case. She ain't gonna let him do it, but that man crazy. He probably will try to take it.
Hank, how much do you credit the performance that you had yesterday? How much do you credit that to the work that you put in throughout the training camp off season with the DBs? We saw a lot of times throughout training camp you were spending additional time with Steven Nelson, just giving those little nuances,
I just say shots out to them boys for getting me ready. Just trying to pick everything I can apart. Like learn the defenses. They teaching me things, telling me what I can get better at with Steve and Steen, and CJ standing out there with not only me but all the receivers. We all trying to get that connection down. And Coach Slow just dialing up the plays. He's doing a great job. So I just say that.
Robert was saying that you guys sometimes go to the bottom and like, all right, for yesterday you were saying, we're talking to them like, hey, let's throw the ball, let's get
Yeah.
your experience. Does he listen? Like, what's that kind of back and forth?
Yeah, Coach Slow, yeah, he's definitely all ears, man. Whatever. If we do say something to him, he's down to he's down to dial it up. That's good for us, and that's good for him being a coach. You want someone who's gonna, not necessarily just listen to you, but who takes part of okay, I understand what they're saying. I'm gonna try my best to get the ball. So that's great, to have that type of OC who's gonna listen and open up for us and let us, try to help him, and he helped us. So it's been good.
At what point in the game did y'all talk to him?
We did it in a joking way, though. It was right after halftime. We were just Coach Bobby, come on, Coach Slow, get us. No, we were just joking, though, but it was just something funny we was doing.
Shouldn't have been.
Right after halftime.
Yeah, should have been. Didn't need to be joking about that. They needed to run the rock. I hope he didn't really need to be told that. But that was Tank Dell. It's good to see what him and Nico have done up to this point. I would say one of the biggest disappointments. A couple observations about the offense that I do wonder if these could be things that linger or last. Obviously, the O-line is going to give him more time to get open, and maybe he won't have to block as much. But Dalton Schultz looks bad. He just doesn't. He doesn't look good at all. He had a couple of mop up catches yesterday, but I think he has 6 catches for 50 yards or something like that. Also looks very stiff when he catches it running afterwards. That maybe something to do about nothing, but 2 games in, Dalton Schultz, I'd say he's been one of the biggest disappointments. And you would think that he would be able to get in the mix with some of these other guys and make some plays, because it's not like you're not seeing it. It's not like the running backs where nobody's running the rock. But the disappointment of Dalton Schultz, I think, is hard to uncover. Also, I almost wonder if Singletary, it needs to be more 50-50 with him and Pierce, especially when the O-line is where it is right now, and you don't feel as good running the rock. I almost wonder if maybe it needs to be, I think it's been 70-30 or 65-35. I wonder if they need to look at maybe making it a little bit more of a 50-50 split at the moment. And I still like Dameon Pierce. I think Dameon Pierce is a valuable player, but I just kind of wonder what the deal is with that and in those situations. Couple comments before we get out of here. It is the week 2 wrap. Texans, only winless team in the AFC South, on to Jacksonville tomorrow. We'll react to what D'Amico Ryans had to say. Also get some headline reaction, and we'll have the live streams as well. In the life of Colby says, my guy looks stressed. Hope it's a new baby and not you stressing about the Texans. No, they stress me the hell out. I'm tired of watching this crap. I don't think it's as minimal as, oh, well, it's early and all that. I mean, there's the freaking Colts. You're down 3 touchdowns at the start. Yeah, it's stressful. But yeah, the baby too. It'll keep you up for sure. But no days off. You dig? Eric says, Landry, let's just wait until those guys come back and play together for a few games, then go from there. I mean, is that how? I mean, that's a weird thing in the NFL, because you're not always gonna have full strength, and you're not always gonna get to play the Colts. So that's where we are at. Appreciate everyone for coming through. This has been the Locker Room. Do me a favor before you leave, or when you do leave, subscribe. Be sure to like the video. This is the best place to get the Texans pulse, and I appreciate it for everyone for coming through. And when it comes to this Texans stuff, we are all in this together. Let's look ahead to Jacksonville now after that embarrassing L. This has been the Locker Room.
Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not 2. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker Room, yeah, we